The story begins when Yugi, a tamer, comes back to the guild hall with a whole bunch of Drea flowers in his bag, which are used for making healing potions. Being able to accomplish such feats as a mere tamer comes as a huge surprise to everyone, but they are taken aback by yet another big surprise in the form of a monster army marching towards the town. Everyone is preparing to escape, but Yugi shows them all that there is a winning chance. A dragon tooth that he can use to recreate dragon fire. Everyone bets on this chance, and so begins an all-out war with the monsters. Eugene sends out a recon team to scout the perpetrator, but as soon as he's cornered, the perpetrator kills himself. To avoid interrogation, Yugi then uses everything in his arsenal and some more to put up a barrier around the town, after which he proceeds to burn the monsters. Live with his trump card, the dragon fire magic, Yugi faints due to exhaustion and wakes up to the whole town singing his praises. However, he quickly flees the town as he does not like to be treated as a hero. It is later revealed that the perpetrator might be a part of the guild that the town's residents were already following after escaping his ever-popular life in the last town. Eugene moves to a new town named Kilia, where he enrolls into a new guild and is once again subjected to the prejudice of being a tamer. However, Yugi gets hired thanks to his enemy detection skills and starts looking for a party to join. One party reluctantly offers to take him in as they are going on a mission to investigate the Earth Dragon in a dangerous area where they would rather avoid enemies than fight them, making Eugene's recon abilities useful. Yugi quickly proves his worth by detecting enemies from far away, giving Rotus a chance to show off his skills and take the lead. Later that night, Rotus offers to take the first shift, while Eugene and the others sleep. Yugi then dreams about the day he randomly woke up in this game-like world and found a lot of slimes who were ready to be tamed by him. Eugene quickly gained a lot of skills thanks to his shared senses with the slimes that he had tamed. Meanwhile, Rotus runs away during his shift and is revealed to be in cahoots with some famous band, to whom he sells his party members and then tells everyone back at the guild that they all ran away during the mission. Tina and Lisa, who were following Rotus, get in trouble, but Eugene and his slimes intercepted the last moment, capturing the bandits and saving the day. Eugene doesn't take credit for it though, as he does not want people to depend on him thanks to some harsh experiences in his past life. Eugene and the rest decide to continue their mission, but Eugene is worried about the prophecy. The bandits were talking about something about calamity coming beneath a full blue moon. Nevertheless, they carry on with their quest and soon arrive at Delight Canyon, sometimes referred to as the Valley of the Wind, owing the name to the strong gushes of wind that come from there every so often. The sky turns darker as the team is moving ahead in their path, and a big blue dragon appears in the sky. Eugene and his team try to run away from the dragon, but then the Earth Dragon appears and blocks their path. Yugi single-handedly defeats the dragon and is successful in diverting the credit to someone else. Everyone reports back to the guild and gets a hefty reward for taking down the bandits and the dragon, but their joy is short-lived as Yugi is called upon by a knight in a meeting to discuss the blue dragon that had recently appeared in the sky. After seeing a picture Yugi makes for them, the head cleric from the central church describes a legend about this dragon. They also discuss that they did a ritual at the last lunar eclipse to summon a spirit to combat exactly this kind of disaster, but it doesn't seem to have worked. The meeting is adjourned for the day as everyone is supposed to head into battle the next day. Before leaving, the head priest, Father Sterile, hands Yugi a special knife and tells him that the heavens deemed it so, that he would have it. Later that night, Yugi decides to duke it out with the dragon alone, since he knows fighting alongside everyone would just lead to unnecessary casualties. Yugi fights with all his might but is unable to damage the dragon, but then he figures out a creative way to use the dagger he received from the cleric, hence in the end Yugi finally bests the dragon and the sky returns to normal the following morning. The knight who invited him to the meeting comes to his room and tells him in a rather cryptic manner that he should have just asked for help. Yugi then leaves the town of Kilia and heads for Ricardo. On his way, a girl named Dryad calls Yugi for his help in gathering the pieces of mushrooms that were scattered around the area where the blue dragon died. She calls them Dragon's Grace and tells Yugi that they are used to make healing potions and magic restoratives. She then recalls the fact that Yugi saved her back when she was lying. Completely drained of her magic energy near a burnt-out tree, Yugi dispelled the cause for her condition as well. She thanks him again, and thus Yugi is able to continue his journey toward Ricardo's on his way. A mysterious fog covers the entire area and leads him to a mysterious village known as the Village of Science. The residents of the village are secretly planning to gather the Dragon's Grace of the Earth Dragon. Yugi quickly gets out of the village and finds himself in a drab, snowy and lifeless area that looks like a town. He heads closer to the entrance of the town and finds out that the town is usually warm and sunny, but for some reason the snow has been piling up for a long while. Now, as Eugene enters a famous restaurant to taste their local cuisine, they tell him that they don't have enough wood for cooking and that's why they are closed indefinitely. Yugi goes out into the forest, chops up trees and dries the wood, allowing him to finally taste the top-tier food of that restaurant. Yugi then helps the town folk gather wood and accelerates their progress by 100 times. As he's helping the town folk, he comes across a cursed stone that may be the cause of this never-ending winter. So he extends his search network and at the center of it all finds a mysterious entrance. The entrance leads to an underground facility where they make magic stones. Yugi and his slimes encounter some followers of the Blue Moon. Yugi looks for clues outside while his slimes tail those follow. His search leads him to the town of Meshes, where the slimes find some important documents and a whole lot of treasure. The followers catch on and send some men to take out the attacker. Yugi stealthily takes out the followers who came for his head and finds out that the underground facility has a mechanism called the Flame of Cleansing, which gets activated when all 5 of the main followers present in the village die. The heretics commit suicide and activate the flame. Yugi cuts it really close, but still manages to contain the explosion, the eternal winter, and the town finally subsides as the source is destroyed and the citizens thank Yugi for his heroic efforts in gathering firewood. Behold the party and Yugi is finally able to taste the best dish from the best restaurant in town elsewhere. Some assassins are looking for Yugi as he is on their hit list. Fuji immediately leaves town and heads for Virginia as he learns about his name being on the hit list. The assassins carefully observe Yugi to confirm if he's a threat or not. Yugi tries to shake them off over and over again, but they are pretty hard to convince and thus he has to put up a long extended act just to get them off his trail. However, as the assassins are leaving, Yugi hears their plans to assassinate Father Styro and immediately neutralizes them. The next day he goes to the armor shop to buy some armor for his slimes, but the craftsman tells him that he needs a blue lesser fire dragon jewel from the volcano near the town to forge armor that is strong enough for his tamed monsters. Eugene takes on all the requests in the guild to kill or neutralize the lesser fire. Vegan Yugi goes up to the volcano and defeats all the dragons with relative ease. Since the dragons are extremely weak to water, he comes back with 2 blue lesser fire dragon jewels and a whole bundle of lesser fire dragon jewels. The craftsman makes armor for both the wolf and the slimes and it really makes them faster, stronger, and more durable. However, he tells Yugi that if he still needs something stronger then he needs to kill a fire dragon who just randomly pokes his head out of the volcano sometimes. Later that day, Eugene and his slime sense some shady activity around the volcano, and as Eugene is about to head out to deal with the problem, the volcano erupts and a big fire dragon shows up. It starts raining in the town of Virginia. Since the fire dragon hates rain, it starts going on a rampage. Eugene neutralizes 2 followers of the Blue Moon. They were trying to climb up the volcano with some cursed water. They then commit suicide like the previous ones. Now for the dragon, as it's trying to make its way into town, Yugi uses his mind and his exceptional skills as a tamer to kill it. It goes on to be a long and hectic battle, but it's all worth it since it ends in its success. Yugi then takes the jewel of the fire dragon to the craftsman and he fixes him up with some legendary armor. Yugi also tells him to keep everything a secret and he agrees to it along with the jewel. The Sims also find an artificial rain machine placed by the followers of the Blue Moon there to stir up violence and destroy the town. Yugi moves to a new town, but this one seems to be completely controlled by the blue moon of salvation. He reunites with Sterl, and his aide, Johann Sterl, tells him that he was the one who founded the Church of Blue Moon in the name of God. But his right-hand man Walter betrayed him at the end and later used it for his own extremist purposes. He tells Yuji of a prophecy that a divine emissary would come and save them. All from this so-called great cleansing. Sterl tells Yuji that the divine emissary must be him, to which Yuji doesn't know how to respond. The next day, Sterl and Johann leave for the forest to find Walter's headquarters while Yugi follows their trail. Styro defeats most of Walter's henchmen, but he is betrayed by Johann. Walter then tells Sterl that they have tried to kill Eugene many times before, but he was far stronger than they had anticipated as they are having this conversation. Eugene bursts into the scene. The end. Will Yugi be able to save Sterl? Or will the mighty protagonist meet his own demise?